Everybody, welcome to the Friday of March 28th edition of the Arkansas Diamond Report. Man, I'm going to tell you what, that was rough. I'm sorry about that, y'all. Got Dudley, got me, Jason here. I want to start off with the press conference from Wednesday. Arkansas Razorback Women's Athletics introduced the 10th coach to the Arkansas Razorback history of Kelsi Musick. Dudley, you were there. Give us kind of a feel of what you were kind of getting from Coach Musick and kind of the staff as well, or from athletic staff.
Well, let's start with just her in general. I'm very impressed with just Kelsi Musick, the person. You go back and you look at numbers and where she's been at Southwestern Oklahoma State and ORU, and she's been a winner at both of those places. Obviously, transformed the ORU program in 3 years. Had signed an extension there, but when you get the opportunity to make 600,000 and come play in the SEC, then that makes your heartfelt decision become a business one. And I'm looking forward to watching your teams play. That's not hype. They were in the top 10 in the country last year in scoring at ORU. Uh, is the dribble drive offense is her deal, and she likes to get shots up. So it's going to be a different, obviously a different type of both atmosphere and I would think it's easy to say a different type of tempo that and excitement to watch. Got a chance to talk with Mike Neighbors a couple times this week. Was joking with him that the kids I'm sure are going to think Fayetteville and LA, where he's going to be an assistant coach for the Los Angeles Sparks, reuniting with
Congratulations to him
Kelsey,
too. Yeah,
reuniting with Kelsey Plum. He's excited about that, and so yeah, you want to say it worked out for everybody. I know everybody would maybe like to stayed in their same positions, but this is what happens at the end of basketball seasons. There's some upward mobilities, there's some sideways mobility, and different things going along. But obviously, Vera Olunjinu has gotten in the transfer portal so far, and Christina Sanchez as well. It's with it being them on spring break this week. It's been interesting in terms of where they are going to go with the roster. I haven't heard yet whether anybody from ORU will be transferring over here. Obviously, she had a lot of talented players there to get over 80 points a game. Uh, and so kind of just anxious to, we're going to delve into that big time the first part of next week as the students get back from spring break, both here and other places. And obviously the transfer portal is open and everybody and their dog, except mine, has jumped in it.
Max hasn't either, so my dog hasn't either. So we're safe on that side. Um, I know that with the transfer portal, and you were just talking about, I know it might be a little jumping the gun, but I feel like that Kelsey's going to actually bring those ladies back and kind of have like a second exit interview / entrance interview to kind of get a feel of who might be a better fit for this offense and who might not be.
Yeah, and this is an interesting situation in terms of she talked about fit on offense. She wants everybody to be able to score in double digits. She's not really looking for a dead spot in the offense per se, that when the ball goes over there that nobody will be worried about them shooting. You look at Arkansas's roster, which as we've noted over and over has an international flavor. It's going to be an interesting situation there. A lot of these girls came to play for Coach Neighbors and his staff. Lacey Goldweiler will still be here, so maybe that'll play into things somewhere. I know that the number one thing that I bet uh, Coach Musick wishes is that all of a sudden Izzy Hickenbottom got another year. Everybody else is getting another year, but the ones who played 4 years, uh, and without taking off and all that aren't getting one. But obviously, that would be a big pickup, but nothing. I've heard nothing to believe that NCAA is going to do that. They're too busy, hacking out some other stuff. But and the key thing, and you and I have talked about this a lot. And I asked Coach, no, excuse me, I asked Hunter Yurachek questions about this the other day. Are you going to put money in there into the NIL and transfer portal and all that? He said it would be funded, maybe not at the top. So he's saying not LSU, South Carolina money, Texas money, but it sounds like that he's he's voicing the opinion that's what he's going to do. And then I also asked him about the narrative that his administration doesn't want to do that, and he thought he found that false. But he knows why I asked that question.
Mhm.
It wasn't a gotcha question. It was an answer to this question because everybody out there has that question.
Yeah. And he also talked about, I know I read this in your story too, with the introduction to Coach Music, that Arkansas right now is in the bottom quadrant of NIL and wants to
And the
increase.
and quadrant standings,
Yep.
everything. Yeah. So yeah, that's not where they need to be.
And you talked about with him wanting to go up to that 8 to 12 quadrant and then that 4 to 8 quadrant, keep moving up. But does that mean he's wanting to increase NIL through the next 4 years, or what does that look like?
Well, that's why I asked the questions. And obviously, April 7th is a big day regarding the NCAA's case that has to do with revenue sharing. The judge will hear some more arguments, could make a decision right then, could make it pretty soon after then. It's going to have to be adjudicated pretty quickly
Mhm.
because if you don't, then you're into another calendar year and you'll have to push back all this revenue sharing that, has been put out there is a godsend. I do think that to me, yeah, it's going to help out a little bit, but everybody's getting this. And so it's not as if you're going to move up in the rankings of NIL money
Mhm.
just because of this revenue share. You're still going to have to come up with your own collectives and whatever other ways you can come up to pay players, as strange as that sounds.
And one of the big hurdles that I was reading that the NCAA does have at this point is making sure that they're covered with litigation, with players coming back and suing them. And I think that that's one of the big pieces that they're trying to get past right now. If that does not get resolved by April 7th, I think that's where you'll see it push back. And also, it comes down to player representation on campus too, because the GM is not going to be, representing both sides of that. They're just mitigate, or they're just kind of managing the transaction. And I think that that's where you'll see player representation on campuses before this thing completely gets pushed through.
Yeah, and it's and there's it's when they started all this, they thought, hey, this will be good. We'll do this, and everybody will play by what the non-defined rules that we have. And I want to be clear about the non-defined rules because they didn't really. They just said, "Hey, here you can give them money now if they earn it on their name, image, and likeness. You can do a car commercial or whatever." Well, that's not how it turned out. It's highest bidder, it's salary cap, it's all these things. So I'm anxious to see how it goes along. And again, I've really enjoyed my 40 plus year career. But as this thing disintegrates into pro sports, I'm glad that I'll be on a golf course, in a beach and some other stuff while all this is going on later on down the line here.
I was going to say, yeah, you'd rather be there than in a boardroom trying to hammer this out with a bunch of guys and women and men and women that have conflicting
I
interests
don't
at
think
the
the
end.
board, yeah, I don't think the boardroom would allow the apparel that I have. I don't have a boardroom apparel in my closet, so.
Neither do I, as you can see what I'm wearing today. Holy cow. Um, I want to talk about, and I know this is going to be a little bit of a sore subject for some folks out there. Arkansas sports really kind of shit the bed this week. I mean, there's no really other way to put it. Baseball's collapsed in the top of the ninth, allowing 4 runs, tie the game up, give up a home run in the 10th, lose 13-12. Razorback basketball giving up a 16-point lead last 5 minutes. And I'm trying to corral all this in because it's just been a bad 3 or 4 days for Arkansas sports. Good thing softball didn't play this week.
Yeah, the immediacy, of being a fan, whether it's professional sports or college sports. I mean, I was happy as I could be yesterday because the Cardinals are at least not going to go 0 and 162.
Top
Won
of
a
the
game, yeah, won a
division.
game yesterday. So I mean, that was my focus yesterday. I'm a writer, not a fan of college sports. That's the way you have to be when you're in these positions. But yeah, I get it. I mean, I understand why the fans were crashing down. Worst loss ever poor coaching, bad decisions, this and that, and that's there's some valid criticism to be laid there when it's a 16-point lead and you lose, and there are a couple of things there at the end certainly that you could have done better. I give credit to Texas Tech, but yeah, I mean, that was a choke job. It's that being said, what an effort from these kids. And I know a lot of people are saying it, and it may be cliche, but it's true. What an effort from these kids. 0-5, lose, arguably your two best players as you're coming down the stretch. You push yourself into the Sweet 16. I did not have them in the Sweet 16 other than the conference Sweet 16 tournament. Uh, but really got together. It's going to be interesting to see what the roster looks like next year. Will you have any kids here that will transfer looking for better spots? Obviously, Boogie Flan and Adu Thoreau have been listed in some mock drafts as first round draft picks, and really in that 20 to 30 range. Some of them could be second round draft picks. But man, the things you got, Carter Knox, Billy Richmond, uh, yeah, I don't know what's going to be up with Dewan Wagner if he'll be back. If he'll test the waters, even though he's not really listed in these mock drafts and stuff yet. But it's gonna it's and you've got arguably two of the top five players in the country coming in.
Yeah.
You've got one of the best players in Arkansas, Oscar Seeley, here who plays just down the street from me here in Springdale.
Mhm.
And you've got a 6'9", multi-talented, versatile kid coming from overseas, and you know that just the way things are, there's going to be a couple of portal additions as well, because you will lose Jonas Adu, you will lose Nelly. And Nelly, what a game from him last night. That's what you wanted to
God.
see all year, and it's sad for him that he played that well and they couldn't get over the finish line.
Mhm.
Uh, but Trevon Brazil, as much criticism as he's gotten over the few years that he's been here, had a phenomenal first year here. The second year was subpar, lots, I think, because he came back from the knee. But down the stretch, he was as important as anybody to get
Yep.
them to this thing. Those are guys that won't be back. You'll replenish those. You'll replenish the guards. The Kevin knows he's going to be busy here the next few years, but he always is. I mean, basketball is not your easiest cover ever.
No, it's an always evolving animal. Really, it really is. Um, so baseball is on the road to Nashville. They're going to take on the Vandy boys this weekend, number 14 in the nation. Um, what do you see that might give Arkansas some trouble at the plate this weekend?
They're pitchers. I mean, it's interesting. I went in and did some research on them. I've watched a few of their games too, but pitching, it's not a strange thing that they always have great pitching. They got a lot of pitchers that have pitched in the major leagues, including Sonny Gray, who pitched well for the Cardinals yesterday. But they've got a kid that they're going to start tonight, J.D. Thompson. Now, for the most part, he's got a 4.06 ERA. You think, well, that's not that great. But he finished off the last game by swinging the last seven batters of the game in a stretch where Vandy pitchers were
Oof.
fanning 13 of the last 14. Uh, and so, they're back there with pitching again. They start Cody Bowker on the right-hander on Saturday, 2.64 ERA. And then Connor Farrell is a kid that is not a pitcher by nature. As Coach Tim Corbin says, he's a baseball player who happens to pitch. He'll be in there on Sunday, and he just pitched 3 2/3 innings against Texas A&M. And yes, Texas A&M, the preseason number one team, is at the bottom of the thing now. It's unreal. 12-12 overall, 0-6 in conference play. But he's a guy who's a Dayton transfer, and is a guy that obviously is hitting. They're hitting their stride pitching just in time for Arkansas to come to town, and it is a strange. It's a great atmosphere too, but it's a strange field in that it's the only one in the SEC with carpet, with turf. Uh, And
Yeah,
it's
I still
if
can't
you
get
go out there
past
to
that.
interview
So
coaches
weird.
after the game, you can find gum and tobacco all over that thing. It obviously offers you different bounces. They do a real good job at obviously getting a team that can deal with that. But it really is Arkansas's hitting in the way it has been here lately. I mean, even though they lost the other night, they still put up 13 runs. Uh, and by the way, I think people are overreacting. Take a look at other midweek teams, and you'll see LSU, Tennessee, others losing midweek to
Hmm.
teams they shouldn't because you don't throw your best out there.
Nope.
Still, you get things, like Cole Gibbler, who, fanned his 7 guys at one time. So that was the best thing I saw that came out of that. He's kind of
Yeah.
getting right now. Gage Wood is on the road back. He'll be probably, if not pitching next weekend, the weekend after that. Hunter Dietz is a guy they really would like. He's kind of still struggling to get back there, but obviously that would be a good one to get to. But Arkansas's pitching has been inconsistent lately. We certainly are looking, very much at Gabe Gackler this weekend. He gets to start again. They're going with the same three in the same order that they did last weekend. But let's all be honest. He's was the SEC preseason pitcher of the year, but it's 6.57 ERA. Trouble getting through the first and second innings in about 4 or 5 weekends now. He's going to have to pitch well, or Aiden Jimenez or somebody is going to be in that starting spot. And that's, as much as you haven't liked what you've seen out of Gabe Gackle, Aiden Jimenez is saying, my pitch count's good enough. I'm here to do what you need to do. And he was a big reason they got out of there with a series win last weekend.
Yeah. Do you think that Dave might have a smaller leash on Gak when he goes and maybe throw in Jimenez at that second inning?
Well, yeah, it all depends on what he did in the first inning. He did first inning last week. He had a good first inning, and then kind of blew up in the second inning, and
Hmm.
he certainly went and got him pretty quickly then. And so, yeah, I don't think you're in conference play now. You can't experiment. You can't let somebody just get innings. They've got enough pitching that if Gabe or Zach Root
Hmm.
or Landon Beetlecheese goes out there and implodes in the first inning, you can't really worry too much. You got to worry some, but too much about the innings you've got to cover the rest of the week, Ken, because I mean, Vanderbilt. This is a team that Arkansas, I don't think it's beaten in the series since 2018. Uh, Took 2 of 3 when I was over there 2 years ago. By the way, Brooks Dawson, I still wish you were living in Nashville because we would be over there covering that game to see you and the grandson and the daughter-in-law. But Arkansas has no game scheduled in Lancaster, Pennsylvania this year, so
Dadgummit.
that's a grandpa moment there. I was thinking all these years, I've been going to Vanderbilt every game to watch
Yeah.
Arkansas play Vanderbilt in every sport. But
And that
it
would be
is
one of
what.
the first times that Arkansas baseball would come second.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So the Bogle Bombers host Kentucky this weekend. They had a great series win against Tennessee on the road last weekend, and you saw I forgot Carlin's last name. Pitches for Tennessee. That was the fastest pitch in softball history. Was it against Bree Ellis at the plate?
Yeah, now there's some speculation because somebody put up on X that it was somebody else up there, but it was apparently against Bree. Now, for all of that 78 being the fastest pitch, she was throwing pretty fast all weekend, but
Yeah.
Arkansas got to her that first game. And you got to give Arkansas a lot of credit. The philosophy that they took to the plate, and apparently DJ Gasso has a big hand in that. They were able to get through that, knocked the second starter out, very early the next weekend, and then Carlin was able to finish them off in that third game. But that was a kind of a revitalization for Arkansas.
Mhm.
They had to take one. They got two. Could have got three. But here you are with Kentucky at home this weekend. Kentucky's a decent ball club, as all SEC teams are. You really need to get 2 of 3 here at home this weekend, and it would be wonderful for you if you could level up by getting sweeping here. That might be tough, but that's what you try to do when you're home. You got to get 2 out of 3, and if you can get 3 and level up, then you've really got the opportunity to get back in this thing in terms of maybe not winning the conference, but being where you need to be at the end of the season and getting a good seed in the NCAA tournament, hosting all those kind of things. This will be a big weekend for that.
Yeah,
You go
it's
to
really.
Florida next week.
I was going to say, because then right after that you've also got I think it's South Florida, and then after that you've got South
On the
Carolina.
Monday,
So
yeah, they play on a Monday. Once they're coming back from the Florida trip, they just want to stay down there for the weather, I'm guessing.
I don't blame them. I would too,
Yeah,
especially this time of year. But
because it's getting ready to rain out here today.
yeah, it's supposed to pour down pretty good. You know, did Courtney talk about maybe this might have been kind of a turning point in the league season because of the rough start that they had, turned it around, go on the road, and beat a a top 10 Tennessee team? Because this they were going into that weekend. I didn't. You could tell that they had confidence, but they didn't have the confidence that they had like whenever they were coming in for the Whoopie Classic.
Yeah, and you're going to Tennessee 1-5, and you're facing Carlin Pickens, who's the young lady who threw the 78.2 pitch. And she's been invited to come participate in a Savannah Bananas game now after that. So we'll see how that plays itself out. But
That'd be fun.
they got on her in that first game, and obviously fought her in the third game. Uh, but yeah, obviously Coach Dykes very impressed with the fight her team showed down there that week, getting those first 2 games and really hanging on in that first game in extra innings was huge. They might have not came out in that second game and been able to get done what they needed to do. But I think one of the bigger steps, and Robin Herron, obviously put forth a great effort in that first game. But I think one of the biggest step up players this past weekend was the SEC Freshman of the Year, Payton Burnham. One of her first really tough spots was against UCLA, and they lit her up a little bit, and you wonder how she'd bounce back from that. Well, she's bounced back in a really good manner. Is pitching really well, is going against quality teams and being able to get that done. And Cam Harrison threw some good innings, this weekend. They've obviously got, other pitchers, Reese Burline, lots of them. You've got a lot of arms, but you need, at least a couple of them to, while you want to have a complete deep snap, you need a couple of them to say, I'm it.
And
I'm
also,
it.
congratulations to Payton Burnham. She's SEC Freshman of the Week this week too, as well.
Yep, and you throw the way she did. You shut out Tennessee. You've done something. That's a great hitting lineup. I mean, I think a lot of people forget because there's so many sports the SEC is so good in. Tennessee's looking for their third straight SEC softball championship in a row. They shared it 2 years ago with Arkansas. Obviously, won it by themselves last year, and they're fighting an uphill battle now after losing 2 of 3 to Arkansas last weekend. But it's a there's not a league here or not a sport in this league that's easy to get through, and that's good.
Yeah, it is. Well, man, let's get you out here. We got baseball this evening and softball. What time are those start times?
We got six on softball and 7 on baseball.
So you're gonna be a busy guy. Well, let's get you out here. Let you get a little bit of rest and go. Oh, hold on, we got a comment here. Hold on, just a second. Hold the press here. If I can get this thing to pop up here. Well, it's not wanting to do it. Oh, there it is. Hold on. Oh, Lizard Byram. Oh, you just asked what time the game was. So there's the answer to your question on that one. So
Yeah, and both on the SEC Network Plus.
So if you don't have streaming, you're wrong. You need to go get it.
You don't have a smart TV, then you're dumb.
Yeah.
Just saying.
All right. Well, Dudley, let's get you out of here, man. And we will catch you guys next week at 10:30 for the Arkansas Diamond Report. Also, make sure to go and check out the Arkansas Hero Series, Razorbacks of the 80s. All 3 parts are on the YouTube channel. And you can also find
Great
those
stuff.
on hogville.net. I'm going to tell you what, man, that was such a fun conversation. Had Donnie Centers on last night. Great organization that he works with getting folks help as they're incarcerated in prison, and then also making sure that they're set up for success after they get out as well. And so go
It's
check
supposed
that.
to be it's supposed to be not just punishment but rehabilitation, and that's that's a focus right there, and that's a good
Yeah,
deal.
it was great. And also the website for that is pspi.org. So go check that out too if you want to help in any way, shape, or form. Also, next Thursday, Otis and I will be over at Torches and Rogers for the Arkansas football report. And make sure, if you guys want a free taco from Torchy's Tacos, I'm doing a selfless plug here really quick. Mention Hogville and get a free taco. Sign up for the rewards program, get free queso and free chips, and go get lunch on Hogville. I think it'd be a good deal. Good deal. So, Dudley, let's get you
These
out
are
of here.
not your tiny little tacos either. This is a meal.
No, yeah, one or two tacos will fill you up. This isn't your run of the mill small little ones that you need to buy 3 and 4 of. These guys are gonna fill you up. So, well, for Dudley, myself, Jason, I want to thank you guys for jumping on with this morning, and take care. Go Hogs.